Well, yeah, the middle.
It's Monday, okay, it's Monday. All right. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. Thank you all for coming to the December 16th, 2024 City Council meeting. Roll call, Councilor Morrill is absent, all other councilors are present. So first we have our invocation. Councilor Smith is going to share that with us this evening.
If everybody would please join me and be in the attitude of prayer. We pray for our country at all times, that all citizens are safe, healthy, and happy. We pray for wisdom for all those who guide and govern. Help this government body in every situation to know and to do the things that are right and just with soundness of judgment in making vital decisions. We pray for the peacemakers, that the holy life-giving spirit may ever dwell in their hearts, and the barriers of fear, suspicion, and hatred may fall. This we pray to the Holy Father. Amen.
Amen. Next, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. If everyone would just make sure your mics are on, that'd be perfect. Item number 4 is a declaration of conflict of interest. Is there any counselor who wishes to declare a conflict of interest this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to item number 5, which is public forum. Before we address anyone in the audience, Danielle, did you get anything in email for public forum?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Please come on up and state your name and address.
I'm John Caven, 829 North Main, by the airport. I just have a question. I asked someone else in city government about a year ago, and they said this was a place to bring it up, so that's why I'm here. At the end of Grove Street by Pat's, what was Pat's Automotive, for a long time there used to be a mirror so you could see coming out of the end of Grove Street down the hill, which is no longer there. And I'm just curious, is that ever planned to go back? I don't know, I don't remember what took it out, if it was a storm, or if it was working on the pole or what, but it's been gone for a long time. And I'm just curious if we're planning on putting it back up, because it's very helpful.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we can look into that. Penny, can we look into that? Yeah. With Highway, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Is there anybody else from the public who wishes to speak? Oh. Please state your name and address.
Yeah, Troy Haney, 236 Van Buren Road, Caribou. I'm speaking here tonight on behalf of BIG. I'm the chairperson of BIG, the Business Investment Group. We have a little signed petition I guess we want to turn in, and it's in reference to the police department and in support of Dan Bagley's request to look at that tonight, which he'll bring later. But and it reads, as business owners, landowners, and taxpaying citizens of Caribou, we'd like to share our support of Councilor Bagley's request to pause the current construction plan of the new police department for a complete reevaluation of the overall project. Although we agree that a new police station is needed in Caribou, the current size, location, cost of building needs to be looked at. We fully understand that there was a vote to borrow up to $10 million that was passed in Caribou a few years ago, and that the Caribou citizens support the project overall. However, our tax burden and the cost of this project has changed dramatically since that vote. We'd like to ask that this gets evaluated again to build a police station that meets our needs of our town and is fiscally responsible. There are existing properties that should be considered that were not available at the time of the original building concept, as well as the other properties there's other properties that would make sense to evaluate as a possible location. We'd also respectfully ask that the city has a formal meeting with the public to give them a chance to come in and provide their comments and ideas so that council and the committee can be taken into consideration. This project will have lasting impacts on our future property taxes and the safety and security of our communities. So I want to make sure that all taxpaying citizens have the opportunity to be part of the process. So, and we have about 50 signatures here of local taxpayers here from Caribou. So we'd like to turn that in, again, just in support of Councillor Bagley's proposal. Also, on a positive note, from Business Investment Group, 30 North Street, we will be seeing a new house arrive there next week. So we are moving forward with that as we've talked about and agreed. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes, please come on up and state your name and address.
Hi, Steve McEwen, Caribou, Maine. I've been questioning on my property taxes. They mailed it to the wrong address. We got penalized for it. And everybody that I spoke to in the office, it was my fault that they mailed it to the wrong address. My dispute is the interest rate on it. I don't think I should be penalized for my taxes when these people, whoever it was, they went in and they overrode the 31 River Road address and put down 85 River Road as the mailing address, so it went there instead of where I live. I've been trying to take care of this since before Thanksgiving. I've called the office, no response from them. I did speak to Miss Thompson. I had to go find these people. I spoke to Mr. Sally. He's the only one that stayed in communication with me this whole time. And I just don't think it's fair that I should be penalized on my taxes for, it wasn't even my error. If my wife wouldn't have been in here, we'd have never known. I mean, we'd have never got any tax papers. So I spoke to Miss Thompson about it, and she said she can't override it, and who's gonna pay the penalty fee? Or who should pay the penalty fee? I don't think it should be us. I mean, we had no deal in it. I mean, you guys, they mailed it to the wrong address.
Okay. Anyone have any questions here? No. Okay. Thank you for letting us know. I mean, the tax bills do go out as a courtesy to citizens, but technically everyone is responsible for their tax bill, whether or not they get the bill in the mail. But thank you for letting us know, and we'll see what we can
Because
work
I
out.
just want to pay it.
Sure.
Simple as that. I mean,
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to pay the interest because I don't feel it's my fault that this situation happened. I mean,
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you, and Manager Thompson will be in touch.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you sign in for public input?
This right here.
Sure.
Is this yours?
Who's calling?
Okay. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Please come on up and state your name and address.
My name is Bruce Hagelstein, 34 Coolidge, here in Caribou. Couple of things. Number one, where do we stand on a code enforcement officer? Are we any closer?
Well, Manager Thompson could answer that, but last I knew, we haven't had applicants that have come in and applied, so we can't really hire someone until they apply for the position.
Or are we any closer?
Not, we are no closer than our last meeting.
Okay. Number two, when we had the fire at the place on the side of the Nylander, up there on South Main, what is, I know that's a private property and so forth, but boy, what an eyesore. That is a mess up there. Is there anything the city can maybe twist a few arms, whether it's still under insurance investigation or whatever it might be, so we could possibly get that cleaned up? Because that's going to end up being a harborage for rodents and everything else running around. So I think need to take a look at that and maybe put a little pressure on it. I know I've driven by some other places that have burned down, and they're already all cleaned up, and you know, everything's back to normal, and I don't understand why this is taking so long to get somebody in there to get that cleaned up and hauled away on that.
What was the address again? I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
What was the address again?
It's on South Main, and it's the building that burned down right next to the Nylander Museum
course.
Laundromat.
Yeah, got it.
on that. Okay, the third thing is the police station. I just want to tag along with what Troy said. You know, everybody likes a new car. Everybody likes a new car with all the bells and whistles. But you know what? We cannot all afford a Cadillac. We may have to go down to a Chevy. And I think we're in a situation here with the architect that is, they're trying to upsell us, in my opinion. Because the more they get, the more they make. Come on, it's all about the money. And we had, when the referendum passed for the $10 million, the referendum read up to $10 million. The starting point is not $10 million. We also gotten a grant for $2.5 million. So let's say it does come in at 10 million. The 2.5, the obligation to the taxpayers be 7.5 million, which makes it, in my opinion, still high. But at least it's you're able to stomach it a little bit. I was involved with the new police station concept back when Dennis Marker was here as city manager. In my opinion, we're no further along than we were back then, and that's quite a few years ago. And I think you, as a city, we need to tell the architect what we need. Don't let the architect tell us what we need. Big difference. Is it wants or is it needs? We need to make sure we meet the needs of the police department. Sure, it's nice to have lots of bells and whistles, but come on, we can't afford it. Let's be reasonable here, and let's get it to where it needs to be, where it's functional, and it serves our needs. It's just, I read the packet, and the last proposal is $10 million, 300,000, something like that. Come on, it's still too much. If we're still gonna go with this architect, my opinion is, you tell the architect, can you do it or you can't do it for 10 million or less. If you can't, it's time for us to move on. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay. Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Please state your name and address.
Mark Lewis, 16 McKinley. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry I'm late. I didn't even know, I forgot that it was Monday. This technically is not the problem for the city. It's about Social Security. And Penny Thompson helped me out and pointed me in the right way, and I thank her. What it is the state of New York had made a mistake on it, and now I am going to touch if it goes too long, I'm going to have to touch my investment. And as you know, I'm waiting for the house to be sold in Connecticut. I'm an heir to some property, and I wanted to invest here. So I'm thinking that maybe Susan Collins, I was in her office, and the lovely lady by the name of Ms. House, House, talked to me. You know, here it is, Christmas time. This is a Merle Haggard song if I make it through December. Got plans to be in a warmer time come summertime. That's where I'm at. It's all about the Medicaid part, and this isn't really the city's deal, but I want to have heat in my house, and I'm using the last of my ACAP thing. And I'm going to pay for heat, but I don't want to take it out of a mutual fund that's making me, or not a mutual fund, but a CD thing, and I have a CD at Federal Credit Union up on Bennett Drive, you start touching these things, and then you're penalized, and then you end up paying taxes. And, you know, as a vet, I'm just a little, I'm wondering, it sounds like it's a problem across the United States, because Susan Collins had something for the police and fire, the Fair Act and Social Security, and also it was hacked. And I know this isn't you guys' deal, but I got hacked maybe with my Social Security. Is there any way I can get my Social Security on time with what's going on? If you have any questions, let me know. I don't
We
know
can't
anymore.
answer that for you, sir. I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Well, I just thought I'd let you know. A lot of people in town, I guess, are having these problems. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Okay. Item number 6 on our agenda will be minutes from the March 11th, 18th, April 22nd, and August 26th meetings. You all have copies of those in your packets.
Move the slate.
Have a motion to move the slate.
Second.
Motion seconded. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 7 on our agenda this evening was to honor John Morrill, Councillor John Morrill, for his time on the council. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us this evening, but we do thank him for his service to the community, and he will be receiving this beautiful clock. So we'll make sure that we get that to him. All right, item number 8 is reports by staff and committees, and the first item under that, 8A, would be an increase in rates to fire and ambulance communities, and our fire chief is here this evening to discuss that with us.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, City Manager. As you see in your packets, I'm kind of responding last year to Councilors Morell's request that we hadn't seen an increase in our per capita rates since their inception back in 2020. So I've been working on that throughout the year. I apologize that it is so late in the year, but it just got away from me. So I did manage to do some work on that, and proposing at this time that we do a 10% increase on our per capita rates to our outside communities. Currently, we're at $100 for EMS coverage only. That would be going up to $110 per capita. And then for those communities that do the fire and EMS coverage as a combination, that was set at $125, and that would be going up to $137.50 per capita. As you can see in the simple spreadsheet I did, 2022, 23, and 24 all remained at the yearly total of $510,375. With our 10% increase, that would bring us to $561,412.50, which would be an increase in $51,037.50. So,
Well, first I'll say thank you, and better late than never, so.
yes, yes.
Okay. Yes, Councilor
Is this
Smith.
1-year contract, or?
Be a one-year contract, yeah.
one-year
And I've
contract.
included copies of the contract updated
Yeah,
with
okay.
with that pricing if you do choose to accept.
Chief, I think that's
Anybody
way
else?
too low. Honestly, since 2020?
Yep.
Just confirm that. So since 2020, we've had out of control inflation, ops expenses have gone up, wages have gone up.
EMS supplies are
The
out the
supplies are
roof.
out, right,
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
roof. 10% is not nearly enough.
That's what I'm proposing. I mean, I take suggestions on what the council wants to do with that also, you know.
Do you have any idea what other areas are charging?
Without specifically naming them, I know, close by, they're doing 65, you know, but I'm assuming that, I mean, they're obviously gonna have to do an increase also because
Sure.
You know, costs are just out the roof for everything right now.
You know, given potential changes going on in the police department,
Fire department?
I wouldn't, I'm sorry, thank you. Got the police station on my mind. I was at 25% minimum. That's my feeling. I had nothing to base that on except thinking about what inflation was over the last 4 years and what we have all experienced and our tax increases and all that. I mean, I think it's got to be somewhere close to that.
What's the furthest distance that we travel for our outlying areas?
Caswell?
Caswell would be in,
Because I'm not familiar with all these
It'll
areas.
be almost to Van Buren.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
gotcha.
close to
Okay.
Van
North
Buren.
line, so.
yeah.
But we don't take many calls in Caswell,
No,
correct?
luckily, we don't have the
Yeah.
call volume there.
Yeah,
I mean, Limestone is we run to Limestone quite a bit. Otherwise than that, up, you know, towards Madawaska
Limestone
Lake.
seems to be our biggest one, huh?
and I
Yeah.
know when we raised the rates back was it 5 years ago?
Yeah, 2019, that was
Yeah.
kind of the study part, and then
Yeah,
2020 is when they
You know, and I think there
initiated
was
it.
a lot of discussion around it then,
Yeah, and that was
people feeling the pinch, but
a big increase back then, too.
it was a big
considering-
increase. You know, to me, this seems reasonable without putting people from other communities out too. And you said, can you repeat what you said? You said 65 is what other communities are charging per capita. Can you clarify that, please?
Yeah, I can't,
Approximately, or?
yeah, so there's really not many to choose from in the area, so
Right.
it's very limited. I mean, Prescal obviously would be the next big community that serves others, but that's generally what their rate is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, to me, I'm comfortable with the 10 personally, but.
I mean, we can do the 10 this year and then revisit it again next year. I mean, if the council chooses to do that also.
What do you think, Jody?
I
sorry.
guess the
Councilor
bigger
Smith.
question is here, it's not the 10%, I guess, is should we even be doing this? That's another whole conversation. Should we be, yeah, we're good neighbors and all that. I mean,
Right.
If we charge 25% or 10% more, should we be servicing this community? You know, or, that's my question.
Well, the burden has fallen on our community to do it,
Mhm.
right? And so if we're going to do it, we need to be well-equipped to do that.
Correct.
And we're suffering increased costs, increased mill rates because we're trying to support something that is just getting more and more expensive.
Mhm.
So if we are serving other communities, I want to continue doing that, but we need to charge them at least our cost. And I don't think that is anywhere near the cost.
Well, I kind of agree because 22, 23, and 24 have had no change.
No, we have
No,
stayed the
there hasn't
same
been,
for
there hasn't
several
been no
years.
change since the
Yeah.
inception, so.
So.
We haven't.
No, we
we
haven't done
No, I
anything.
think that
I-
the 25%, although it's a big boost, would not be too much because they've, for a long time, it's stayed the same.
What I think I would like to see us do, I think that 25 is a lot to expect people to pay that big of an increase, but I think if we could maybe look at every year doing a small increase versus waiting 3 years, 4 years, whatever it may be, and then slamming people with a big increase.
Well, you're effectively slamming Caribou taxpayers by not charging these other guys what they need to pay.
Right, well, I'm not arguing
don't
that
wanna
we
slam
shouldn't
the
be charging
Caribou.
more. I agree with that.
And I think that was the
For
big
me, I'd
discussion.
I'd like the details of the numbers and all of that. I'd like to know what the cost truly is, so that we know that we're hitting this right. You said you did a study back in 2019?
The previous chief did, so I can
Maybe
go
we
back
can
and.
blow the dust off that and take a look at that and make sure that we're covering
Well,
our costs.
I
at
don't think that
least.
would be relevant anymore because our
No.
costs have gone up. We would have to look at new
Oh, we'd have
costs
to redo it.
and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what that looks like.
Yeah,
And I think we should
absolutely.
do that before we put a 25% increase or
Me too.
whatnot.
Because initially, it looked like, I looked at the report real quick, they proposed like $106 per capita, and then 125 for the combination, but they just kind of put it at 100 and 125 is what they
Have
ended
these,
up doing.
Have any of
yes.
these communities happy with continuing our services? Have we heard anything from any of them saying yes, no?
I haven't put anything out, really.
We haven't put anything out,
No.
so they're not saying.
Assume
I've only
that
had
we would.
Connor Township actually called me last week, just to see if we were working on the contracts, so they were just kind of kind of trying to prepare
So
themselves for.
Gotcha.
Whatever we potentially could send them, they could say no, or.
Sure,
yes.
that puts it in their court. I think the one thing is that, I mean, they don't have their own, they have the opportunity to come up with something of their own if they choose to. So,
It would cost them a whole lot more. to
it
have
would
their
cost them a
own-
lot more. It would, yeah, I
Yes.
mean, that's their
So-
It's
option.
a heck
Yeah.
of a deal.
It's a good deal for them, but I mean,
You can
I
do it
think
with-
25% is a lot to throw at anybody. But I do think that
I think seeing some numbers would be
Yeah,
really
I
helpful
think
in
that we
terms
do
of
need to
what it's
do an
costing
increase,
us to
though.
go on these calls. Is that something that you could do?
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe we could just plan to put this on one of our next agendas once we have some numbers, and then
When was
make a
this gonna go
decision.
into effect,
Does
for
this have to go,
2025?
do you need it for January 1st?
Well, I mean, that's initially when the
Probably,
contracts go
yeah.
out, but, I
Okay.
mean, the initial,
Do you want to just bump it a little, like 15? Would you guys feel
I'd be
comfortable
comfortable
with
with
15?
15, yeah. But I
mean,
think,
it's a bump, it's a pretty good bump, but it's not, would you feel good with?
I would feel fine with that.
I'd like to see us be
But I-
completely out of this business personally.
I know,
That-
And
but you're
then-
not going to get that vote today, so
No,
would
no,
you
I
go
know.
with 15?
but then if you
Maybe.
could work on getting us some
All
numbers,
right.
that way if we voted on that this evening and went with that for this year, for next year, plan
I
to
like that.
raise it accordingly, and I think every year we need to revisit it instead of waiting 3 years or 4 years before we
I'm
do that.
surprised that we waited the 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little.
yeah, because, I
Yeah.
mean, historically, costs are not gonna go down, you know, everything,
Right.
everything goes up,
Absolutely.
everything goes up, so.
Okay, what are the wishes of the council?
I propose that we actually increase that to 15%.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, further discussion? Bagley?
Aye?
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
No.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, I'll get the contracts updated and get that other information going. too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a rush. At this
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
we're
no.
already going to establish this rate for this year, so,
Yep,
but,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8B is our November financial report, and we have our finance director with us here this evening. This starts on page 53 of everyone's packet.
Evening, Mayor, councilors, manager. So the narrative is on page 54. I'll be actually starting on page 55. November assets were $15,776,755.89. Cash on hand at the end of November was $8,539,853.47. 3/4 of the way down the page, the 2024 tax receivable, we collected $144,357.51 in the month of November, bringing our commitment down to $1,161,725.09. We've collected 88.2% of our 2024 commitment, and that's about 1.2% higher than last year at the same time. Moving over to the liabilities on the next page, the bottom of the page, our liabilities come in at $10,191,282.87. Our fund balance, moving over to page 60, it's $5,585,473.02. Expenses for the month on page 62. The current month expenses came in at $1,122,012.09. We are at 85.5% of our overall budget for the year, and that's down 6.2%. Moving over to revenues on page 67. Our revenues for the month came in at $663,551.33. And we're at 100.3% of our budget, which is very good for the first 11 months. We're over our budget by 8.6% through the month of November. Excise tax came in at $118,913.76. Year-to-date, we're at $1,652,008.41. Revenue sharing came in at $212,774.25, and our year-to-date is $2,229,727.32. And our graph for this month was our expenses over on page 72. Just shows you that we are at 85.5% through the month of November, and it's about 729,000 under budget, about 6%. That's my report for the month of November. If anyone had any questions.
Questions from the council? Thank you, Carl. What are the wishes of the council?
Move to accept.
I second it.
Oh, did you have something, Councilor Smith?
No, I just was gonna second it.
Oh, okay. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And you're gonna stay right up there, aren't you?
Sure.
We've got, item number 8C is the 2024 surplus revenue report.
So Penny had asked me, I think we normally do this in January after we get the final numbers for December. But I guess we wanted to, look at it this month just to make sure that, right now, if I had to estimate, it'd be around 310,000. Like I said, I'd have a better number after the December financials. And I can present that at the January 13th meeting.
If we wanna use the money in 2025, we need to vote on it now, correct?
Well,
Otherwise, it goes into 26.
right, but I think we can do that before I close my books, which I won't close my books before the 27th of January.
The amount you're saying is a reasonable amount, is 310,000. That's
Yeah, but like I said, I don't have,
Could be more.
December's meetings. It
not
might,
gonna be less.
Well, so we could approve at least that amount, correct?
yep.
With that, I'll make a motion that we,
Well, before you do that, can I ask a clarifying question? It may help on my vote. So I'm confused by the years, and I get hung up on this every year. Lapsed appropriation, you want to apply it in 2025,
Right.
right? So
If
that's a
we,
lapsed appropriation from 2023, 2 years prior, right?
right, this vote takes the money from 2024 and applies it to 2025. If you don't do the vote, then the 2024 goes to 2026.
I get it.
that's
Okay,
why
so we're
you-
basically voting to over.
Use it quicker.
And where is it written that we have to wait a year?
You don't have to wait a year, except that our audit doesn't generally get done before commitment. So we don't have the solid numbers. That's why they've always extended it to the next fiscal year.
Yeah, and I think in the past, we've chosen to back it up and go ahead and take the money now for the next,
Right.
for following
Part
year.
of it.
But I just want to make sure we're not violating our charter or any kind of law or rule that.
I mean, the charter does say it goes into lapsed.
So we're voting to violate our charter in doing this.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't want to determine whether or not we're violating it or
We
not.
did this last year.
I know we did, and I had the same issue
Yeah.
Yeah,
last
no,
year.
we went through it, and this is the right way.
Yeah.
This is what we
Well,
do.
Would you prefer to give tax relief to people in 2020 or
I
not?
absolutely prefer to give it to.
All right, then,
2025.
someone can make a motion.
I
if
had,
they'd like to.
I started to make a motion. I make a motion that we appropriate, I'll go with this number, $300,000, I'll leave it 10, and move to line item 456-00 tax relief funds. Oh, excuse me, wrong one. 456-02 taxpayer relief fund in the amount of $300,000. Does that make sense? We're moving it to that, I'm designating it to that account.
I
What
just
do you
have
do with the
two questions for you, just so
Okay.
I can understand what you did.
Motion, move $300,000 to 456-02 taxpayer relief fund.
But what about the other part? A, my first question is, what about the other part? And B, what if it ends up that once he runs the numbers and has a finalized number, it's 410,000 or
Well,
something
then
like that.
that'll be lapsed.
So that's why I was saying, do you want your motion to be at least
I just said
a
300.
certain amount?
Just 300,000.
But I mean the word at least in there.
At least 300,000. No, no, I'm gonna leave it
Or
just
you
at
want it at
300,000.
300,000. So what are you doing with the other 10,000?
We'll let that go into the lapsed. We can do 310. I mean, if that's what, I'm just saying.
Let's see why not, instead of having him
310,
have to
310, okay,
divide.
310, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'm just leaving a
Let's do
little
the
buffer.
310.
Yeah.
Let's do the 310.
Okay, I'll do the 310 then, that's fine. And it goes to this account, 456,
Dash 02.
taxpayer relief fund. Amend the motion to move $310,000 to tax relief fund
So
45602.
it'll actually probably be 03, because that's 2024.
Oh,
This will be
excuse me, yeah.
2025.
03, yeah.
Danielle, you got that okay? All right.
03, okay, yep.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, further discussion?
Yeah, I can't vote to violate our charter, so I'm going to decline to support this.
Okay. So Bagley,
No.
Kelly,
Aye.
Lovewell,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Terrio.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So that'll be 456-03.
3.
03.
Okay, yeah, 03. Okay, that's fine. As long as it's designated.
We got it. All right, item number 8D is the Public Safety Building Committee report, and that is on page 74 of your packet. So our committee did meet on November 20th. All members of the committee were present, and we did meet with both Ellen Angel and Shelley Lizotte of Artifacts. There is, and I don't know, Penny, you can pull it up there. They did present to us a new floor plan that was much more in line with what we were looking for in terms of the size of some of the rooms we had asked them to take a look at. We'd asked them to rearrange some of the areas in terms of where the holding cells were located. We asked them to make distinct areas for the locker rooms, and so they came back and brought a floor plan that we were happy with. They also moved a lot of the equipment up into the mezzanine to take, some of that floor space away. They moved some of those items up into the mezzanine for that. Trying to see if there was anything else that really jumps out about what they did that was different, but I think that's about it in terms of what they did that was different from the previous plan. Long story short, the committee decided that we were happy with this plan. We were happy with the price point. They came in at just a little bit over 10 million, $10,386,000 and $230, sorry. So does anybody have any questions?
I have a statement, if you will take it.
Sure.
Okay, so as I've mentioned in the past, I think we're aiming just really too high on this, both in terms of the size of the building and the cost. This 11,000 square foot building is roughly the size of police stations in Gorham and what are the other ones that I looked at? Gorham, Falmouth, and Waterville, and I think I provided some data on that earlier. So the thing is, though, those towns have populations like 2 to 3 times the size of Caribou, and I'm finding it hard to reconcile in my mind why we, Caribou, would be building a police station that size to accommodate a community 2 to 3 times our size. So I'd really like to see this scaled back significantly, and I think in reference and deference to our taxpayers to try to reduce costs, I think we could build a really nice building for, 6,000-7,000 square foot building. That would bring the cost down to 5 or 6 million, almost half, and actually give us a little bit of wiggle room for furnishings and equipment and fixtures and stuff like that. Otherwise, if we're right up against our budget on the going in on the schematic design, that's already very uncertain. We're going to get to a point where we're not going to be able to furnish the place, or we're going to have concrete floors instead of carpet. I mean, these are the things that we're going to have to deal with. And in my opinion, it's just too big. And so I would like, before we proceed into the next design phases, we're going to really start chewing up some money. during the design development and the construction drawings, that we take a pause, we reassess our goals, we look at our priorities and figure out what we really need and what are wants. I would really like to have the chief prioritize those so that we have something that we can understand, what is really important and what we might consider dropping off. I think there are other more cost-effective options for the city of Caribou, and I'd like to pursue those. I mean, I'd like to at least take a pause and take a look at them. And if it turns out that this is the best plan going forward and we all get comfortable with that, then we drive forward. But I hate to go forward and spend that money now on the next stage of design before we really get comfortable with the size and cost of this building. So I move that we suspend all design work on this project until further notice to give us a chance to do all of that.
Is that a motion?
That was a motion.
Second.
Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
No.
Lovewell?
No.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
No.
No, motion fails.
We're still on this topic?
Yeah,
I got a quick
absolutely.
question. So, I'm just, we got this, the 10 million, we're getting close to that range, and then it's 10
Yeah.
or whatnot. Have we explored our financing options?
Yeah, and
And, there's all kinds of different ways to do this. It's just like buying a home, we can go 30 years, we can go 40, we can use the bond bank, do we use
Right.
USDA, do we use a local bank? So I'm just wondering where we're at on that.
yeah, there's been a lot of exploration with USDA. The other thing I would mention too is once we have this in place and we've moved forward to the next stage, we can apply for some other grant funding for things like the generator and things like that. That we would have a pretty good chance of getting the funding for, but you can't do that until you've moved to the next phase. So we have a good chance of being able to have things like that.
So we got the 2.5 million to work with.
Yeah, but we might also have
individual
like the
grants
generator is
the-
like a little over 200,000 for the generator. So we might be able to get grant funding that will help to pay for that.
And that's
And
why
there's
we-
other components as well.
Is that
So
why
the
we said-
price that's here
Yep.
probably won't be the price because are some things that we could potentially get more grant funding for.
Isn't that why they set up the 401C deal?
Yes.
Correct. Am I
So
correct on
that
that?
group can also apply for funding that we can apply for as a municipality.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
So we will be, is that the next step of the committee is, I understand we're working on this design. I'd like to see them be a little more aggressive on our financing, getting closer and getting some proposals and some actual, other than just saying, hey, we're gonna go borrow 10 million.
Right, we
Where we
have
can-
to go to our next phase
The
for
next
that.
phase to do
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Yep.
okay, perfect, thank you.
Anybody have anything further?
Well, I'm touch bases on several items in here. We have no say on the sizes and how they have to be laid out and how big like a jail cell has to be in this particular room, in this particular. There's a lot of things here that we have no say. It's mandated that certain rooms have this. We tried to cut down on bathrooms and things. Well, we found out we needed at least 5 because of mandates. And so we've been at this for so long, and to keep picking at it, the costs are going to go up the longer we wait. And I think that as we go along, I don't know, maybe we can find some savings somewhere, but there's a lot in here that we don't have a choice about. And we found that out when we looked at other buildings of what it would cost versus building a new one. And it's crazy, but.
There's specific code, I
Specific
guess, that is
codes.
applied to buildings like police
Right.
stations that have to be followed.
Another big driver is like hardening the police station. I think some of our walls and windows are hardened, is that right? As part of this design? That drives the cost up significantly.
And we've actually been able to work with that as best we can so that we have those areas where they're needed in the building.
So what is the reason that we would want to harden? I mean, with the obvious
Are
safety
you-
reasons, but,
Correct.
I mean, there are a lot of
And
police
there are
stations that are out there that aren't hardened.
Right, but there's certain code that says that that would be best practice, or I think in some of the areas, we may even have to do so by code. But we do have to have some areas that
If
are
you have
maintained that
to-
way.
Yeah, if you want to operate like as an EOC or something like that, I think you have to be hardened in some areas, but I don't believe there's any
And-
code or anything that would allow, but that might be one area, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that if
and
we
we've
gave up
already
on
looked
some
at
of
that, and that's one thing that I think needs to be clear, is that this committee has worked really hard to cut down on costs in a lot of areas on this building, and we've taken out, I know you said earlier, what would the chief's priorities be? He's already done that, and we've gone back to the table several times. So we are very much at the point where this is what is needed for
Well,
our
it would be nice if,
police department.
you know, if we had earlier on, maybe it's too late to do this now, but it would have been nice, I think, to ask the architect for like two options. Give us a scaled down 6,000 square foot building and give us, you know, something that would be everything, and then give us something in the middle, something along those lines, because I can't get off the idea that we're building a building that's just too big.
We've done that.
We've done that, and we've gone with two
Have we
stories, and we've gone with
We've done
1.5
that.
stories, and we've gone with 1 story, so.
No, but we've been right on that 12,000 square foot ever since we started, except for that anomaly where they gave us 24,000 square feet.
Well, that's when we were supposed to incorporate the fire station as well.
Right.
Yeah. And that was another thing
And
that
then-
I was,
yeah, yeah.
if we were going to revisit things, I would like to kind of revisit that as well, before we just, this freight train just
That
seems
would
to be
cost
moving forward.
phenomenal amount of money to incorporate
Yeah.
the fire station. I
I know.
mean, that's going
Oh, yeah.
backwards.
No.
At the time, I think
No,
it-
it's not going, no, I wouldn't say
Oh,
it's
when we
going back.
initially
No.
looked at that, which
Originally?
was way before I was on the council, so I only know from historical information. Right now, this is a council conversation.
I could throw in on that.
But historically, yes, you can.
Because of
Well,
the-
can I just?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, you can too. That was the idea, was that we would include it, fire and police. And at the time, I think it was right around, it was between 10 and 15 million
14.
then.
And there was a
14.
50% grant supposedly.
Yeah.
That's
And
right, yeah.
so if we were to revisit that now, this many years down the road, it would be
Yeah,
astronomical.
Because
I
Yes,
know.
go
there was,
ahead.
there was money
So much more
available
Oh my gosh.
at the time for fire stations. And
Right.
we would have done the police
Augustus
and fire
was
together.
21 million.
And basically got the fire station,
So-
post 9/11, those grants or that funding, Joan, if I'm correct, dried up, and that's why.
Yes, yes,
We said,
yeah.
okay, well, let's
Yeah.
throw this all together, because we're gonna get
Yeah.
the fire station in there,
And
right?
that-
And then that,
Because they didn't give it to the police station, but they gave it to the fire.
They gave it to the fire, so if you build
department,
it
called
together, you could-
Safety
it-
building.
public
but then
safety,
that
correct?
died.
And then that died, so that's.
Yeah,
to touch on
exactly.
that, that's what happened
exactly.
on that deal
Yep.
for that. Great concept. I mean, you do it together. It just didn't.
But I do
It was
believe,
15 million there, I think, at the
Yeah.
time, or 13, or
yeah, it was right in there.
somewhere
But-
in that.
But I think
City.
that for the price that things are going to cost now, I think we've got this to where we can get it. I think this is where this needs to be for them to have what they need. Unfortunately, Chief Saucer couldn't be here this evening, but he also had come up with a little something too in terms of the needs of the department. I think you have that, right, Manager Thompson?
That was real helpful. That
Yeah.
was real helpful.
So.
It helped me understand a lot.
But I do think, we've had input from the department in terms of what they need. We've had input from the committee. We've had input from the citizens that have participated in this project, so.
Could I- one more?
So one other thing I think we really need to focus with the architect on is their cost estimates. I'm getting really uncomfortable with how they're laying this out, and they keep changing their cost per square footage, they keep changing their contingency margins, and if you look at the whole thing from the first time they submitted in February and 11 iterations later, if you look down through that sequence, they're using all different numbers, it's not very well explained. I just got information just recently about Skowhegan's police station. They built that for $200 a square foot.
And I think they got what they paid for too,
And
Councillor
there are some
Bentley.
issues, there are some issues, but
Yeah.
I think 800 or so square feet, and then just out of the blue, it dropped to 716 during this last iteration. I'm just saying, there may be something there that we should, ask them to look at again. I think those per square footage estimates are really high.
Did you have something, Councilor?
Yeah, I'm just pointing out, I mean, whether we argue this is big or small, we explored a lot of options, refitting other buildings,
Right.
doing it on different properties. That was not conceivable, I mean, at the time. I think we've explored all those, Joan, correct?
Yeah.
We looked at
thought.
5 different options, you know, and different land. We just
And not
happened-
even just buildings, but sites too.
Sites
Sites
as
that we
well.
thought
There was
might
some
work.
different
We had
options there.
Tear down buildings too.
We're gonna
to
tear,
get-
so there was a lot of research done. on
Yeah.
And
that.
a lot of public input
lot
was
of input.
invited. We had a public forum at the rec department back
Yep.
in 2018. Was that
Absolutely.
2011.
20
excuse me,
2021.
Yep, we did.
2021.
one.
See, my years are all just running together.
there was
But,
2021.
so we have given the community the opportunity to come in and talk and ask questions. And actually, at that meeting, the architects were here
correct.
and here to answer questions
was
from
here.
community members. So.
Would it be worthwhile to take a look at the buildings that have opened up since then? I mean, I can think of FW Web building.
Yeah, and we already
Something
did look
like
at that actually.
Yeah.
They
so.
did look at that
Yep.
initially? It was open at the time that we
No,
did
no,
that
we
study?
sent it to them when it was available.
Oh, okay, so they had looked at that.
Our committee's been pretty thorough.
Yeah, no, I
We have been
I
pretty
appreciate
thorough.
that. I
I'd like
appreciate
to,
that.
I'd like to just mention too, and I haven't weighed in much on this conversation today, but, you know, I think that this, I hope that this council is looking forward to what we're planning to do in this community. And not only are we Caribou, but as we were talking about earlier, this community services many outside areas. So this police department is also going to service a lot of outside areas. We are not just Caribou, we're Caribou plus a lot of other areas. And if you look at, I wasn't here when Loring was in full effect, but this place was huge when Loring was in full effect. As counselors, we are privy to information that maybe these audience members and other people in the community aren't, but you know there are things coming down the pike that are going to grow our community. And as that happens, you're going to have people coming into this community. We have things that are happening right now behind the scenes, and as this town grows and as outlying areas grow, we need to have a building that sustains time. And we're not going to come back in 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years and say, hey, sorry, we screwed this up. We need to have a bigger facility. Give me another however many millions of dollars to build a new one. We need to do it right the first time.
Yeah,
So,
I'm all for planning for the future, and I've always said that. The question is do you know, how much? You know, do you plan for 50% over 75 years? Do you plan on doubling, tripling in size? You know, it really is.
well, it would have been on budget if the former council had got it right.
It's really a guess.
It's just been kicked down the
No, I'm
the
talking-
block too
I'm
many
talking in
times, I
terms
think.
of how much we're going to grow in the next 7
Well, right,
years,
but
you
I
know,
mean,
what
the
we need.
reason that this is over budget is because it's just been taking too long, so let's just stop delaying and get it done.
Did you have something?
I propose to move forward with a preliminary project budget summary of $10,386,230, artifact presented November 18th, 2024. The $2.5 million received through the Congressional Direct Spending Award will then be applied to reduce the overall project, which will bring the total cost well under the $10 million approved by the taxpayers.
Second.
Motion and second, further discussion?
Just a discussion, okay, that was gonna be my question, so this, we're moving forward with this is a.
Absolutely.
So, the motion is saying that we're gonna go ahead with artifacts
Yep.
with this plan,
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
with that price tag.
with that price tag.
Yep.
And then, so
So we can actually move it.
what's our next step after that? So now it's gonna go to bid, is the next.
Right, yep.
So we have
Well,
this.
no,
They'll
no,
enter
no.
the
Probably
design development
answer your
phase.
Right.
And they'll
We're no
they'll start
longer
doing the
waiting.
detailed design.
Yep.
Wow.
We're trying to make it actually come to fruition now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just being very clear, because.
So the motion, to clarify, the motion is to proceed into design
phase.
development phase.
Yeah.
Design, okay, that,
Okay.
thank you.
The next phase.
The
next
next
phase.
The
phase.
next phase.
For this, and, you know, we're pretty close to the price point. I think you
Yep.
mentioned in there that the $2.5 million is gonna
It's gonna bring it under.
offset the 10.
Yes.
It's
Gonna
not gonna be
offset it.
It's
Yep.
not gonna be 12 million.
No.
Nope.
It's gonna be, okay.
It's gonna
Well, it
offset
can, it's there to offset how it
Yep.
needs be.
Offset, but it's,
Offset.
we're going to go above the 10.
In
There's
terms of
something later-
borrowing money, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, as
Yes,
far
we're
as
going to
borrowing,
stay with what
yes.
the taxpayers voted for, which was they would borrow up to 10 million.
Okay, I can almost handle this.
Okay.
You can almost.
Further
Almost.
discussion?
Discussion?
Bagley?
Was there a second? I didn't.
Yes,
hear
there was
that.
a second.
So, yeah, I think we can do more to be more cost effective on this, so I can't support this.
Okay, can
Particular
you give your
plan.
vote, please?
Oh, I thought we were still in discussion.
Oh, I thought you asked if we were voting.
So
Okay.
sorry.
No.
Okay, that was my discussion.
Oh, okay,
Now I'm ready to
sorry.
vote.
Okay, Bagley?
No.
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
No.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'd just like to say, what the good news is, the city has a council who 100% of us support this new police station. We each have a different way of looking at it. We each have our own kind of viewpoints and all of that, but previous councils have been extremely divided on this topic, and I'm really glad that we are all united on going forward with a new police station. Even though to me it's going to be too big, but I'm happy we're going forward.
Me too, thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with you, absolutely.
Okay. Item number 8E is our city manager's report, page 78.
So at the riverfront power plants, the EPA and their contractors are demobilizing at the steam plant. This is a circular removal project undertaken at no cost to the city. The federal on-scene coordinator expressed his thanks to the Caribou Department of Public Works and Director David Willett for their continued assistance with signage, snow removal, salt, and anything else that was needed. The broadband initiative, Charter Spectrum, is actively building as pole permits are being released. They are on track to release 70% of the addresses by the end of the month and the remaining 30% in January, barring any unforeseen delays. Consolidated has completed their Fidium fiber project with 181 miles of new fiber. They are turning everything up. Once that is complete, they will start selling to homes and businesses. For clarification, the Charter Spectrum was the one that is the last mile project. The Consolidated Fidium was a project that they paid for on their own without any grant funding. The City of Caribou did not have to pay anything towards either project. Events and marketing, there are many events planned this Christmas season. Please go to christmasincaribou.com, Facebook, or Instagram for details. Our Christmas market is scheduled to be open on Saturday, the 21st, downtown. So moving on to other administrative projects on the next page, 79, the new LED streetlights. R.L. Todd has been in constant communication with me about this project. They have the arms and other hardware for the new installs. The new fixtures are anticipated to arrive any day. They plan to begin work the week of Christmas and continue through the first week of the new year. They've also responded to some other issues that we've had downtown and here at the city office here just recently. Personnel changes, several positions are now open: assistant city clerk, office coordinator, code enforcement, and police officer. The DOT Village Partnership Initiative, and I do have information here in the packet. That will be on Thursday, December 19th at 6:30 at the Wellness Center, and please come. So this is a planning project. So it's just like we've talked about with the police station. We are in the planning process with transportation and safety. This is not the design, this is the planning. So if you want to be involved in what would get moved to design, come on Thursday and hear what the contractors have been working on. Administrative approvals, a big shout out to Danielle, who's had to learn yet another system from the state of Maine. And this one is on the administrative approvals for liquor licenses. And so I think this is number 2 and 3 that's gone through the process, right? The Jade Palace and the Caribou Bolodrome. They have applied for and gone through the system to receive their extended extensions for their liquor licenses. So moving on to our grant project updates. We were very fortunate that Danielle was able to apply for and receive a grant to help out with the election. The City of Caribou runs the election for Caribou and Connor Township, and of course we have to run elections for the RSU as well. And thanks again, Danielle. I'm sure that your paperwork still is not over for that. And then you have another one, you know, that you have to be thinking about. So the Circle Action I've talked about, they are demobilizing. They'll have a final fact sheet in the spring. Part of their project is to also get a quote for what it would take to finish the job and demolish the steam plant and take. So this project worked on anything that was an immediate health hazard. So to actually take all of the asbestos out, there needs to be a bigger plan for that, and they are working on that. The main connectivity authority hub at the Caribou Public Library, Peter has been putting a lot of time in on that, and we are looking now for design work on that so it could go out to bid. Northern Border Regional Commission, I saw in my email today, yet another draft environmental assessment has gone to MBRC for their review. The congressionally directed spending requests, we've talked about the police station, the Caribou Mill Pond and Park Reclamation Project. Gary's been working a lot on that one. Improvements to the fire station. There is going to be a municipal buildings committee meeting to be moving that forward. We haven't heard anything more about the energy improvements at the library, which was through Senator King last year. Our brownfields grant, so since after they demobilized from the steam plant, then we can go out to bid on the diesel plant, which we have a fiscal year 2023 brownfields grant for that, and that so we will be able to take down, remove, remediate any hazardous materials and also demolish the diesel plant, and that will be at no cost to the city other than staff time. We have also applied for a fiscal year 2025 EPA brownfields grant, and this would be for the steam plant. We also worked with the state for some, like a community-wide assessment, and so they've applied for that through the same, they had the same deadline that we did, but it's a different kind of grant. And this was something Councilor Lovewell and other councilors encouraged me to try to do something like that to see what other properties we could take care of in town. I mean, the big one was the power plant site, but also can we get funding to remediate other sites in town? The ARPA NEU funds, we do have that on the agenda tonight for an extension for the fire station project. DOT VPI, again, we're really encouraging everyone to come to our public meeting on December 19th, which is Thursday night of this week, 6:30 p.m. at the Wellness Center. We have applied for a housing opportunity program municipal grant for a housing study, and this was something that was born out of the development committee and Dave. And we have been made aware that we were a high-scoring application. We have not heard any more information. And the community development block grant, we did hear 2 weeks ago, I think now, that a local business was approved for a community development block grant through the state. Those have to be administered by the city, so you'll be getting more details about that. We are also still working on our comprehensive plan, and we encourage input on that. Again, I want to be able to tell everyone a third time, please come to our, the DOT VPI meeting. It's Thursday the 19th. So we're hoping to engage the community with a discussion of transportation safety needs, focusing on how infrastructure improvements for walking, biking, and driving can support downtown revitalization and riverfront development while enhancing Caribou's identity and character. And again, What day? Where is
13.
it? What time is it? Yes.
6:30.
Again, and
I don't know, 6:30.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to look.
So that is my report, and I would be happy to answer any
Separate.
questions that you have.
No questions by comment. I'm so happy to hear the streetlights are moving forward, so that's great.
Yeah.
I say that every time.
Me too.
Yeah, RL Todd has been great to work with, and they've been keeping me updated on that.
Great, thank you. Item number 10 is new business ordinances and resolutions, and 10A is a consideration of abatement request on map 15, lot 33, sublot 10. And this is on page 84 of your packet. And Penny, do you want to just give a quick?
Well, Carl's here. He
Oh.
can talk to that.
Oh, yes, Carl's here.
Sorry, guys. So stupid to cough.
So if you look on page 55, towards the bottom, it's count 20519. It's 2019 lien receivable. We have a balance of 6138, and this is just cleaning that up. That's the principal balance. It's the one property that I have left to collect, and it's an old trailer that we actually been waiving foreclosure on because we don't want to pay the lot rent. I was just looking to see if we could clean this up for year end.
What are the wishes of the council, or does anyone have questions for Carl?
Is there an owner to this property
Um,
that still owes? Are you saying that there are taxes that are owed?
yeah, so if you look on page 86,
Okay.
there's actually 2, 4, 6 years owed.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
I'm just asking for 2019. I was hoping to clean up 2019 the year.
So we're just gonna keep abating these things as year after year after year?
I
or-
don't know if the owner is around or alive. I don't think the building is occupied. If it is, it's probably squatters.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
I move to abate the 2019 taxes and fees associated with 557 Access Highway, lot number 10, map 015-033-010.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
No.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carl.
Item number 10B is for the council to approve for the city office to close at noon on Tuesday, December 24th, 2024. And what are the wishes of the council with that?
I make a motion to approve the closure of the city office at 12 p.m. on Tuesday, December 24th.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
No.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We're gonna make them work on Christmas Eve all day.
Yeah.
You're a
Wow.
Grinch.
Jeez.
I am.
Wow.
All right. Moving right along. Item number 10C is the approval of a 2025 cost of living adjustment for non-union regular employees. This is on page 90 of your packet. Penny, did you want to speak to this?
Sure. So on January 1, 2025, all employees covered under a collective bargaining agreement will receive a cost of living or other adjustment to their hourly rate of pay. The amount of the adjustment is tied to their collective bargaining agreement. Those part-time employees who are paid the Maine state minimum wage will receive a 3.6% increase. There is no such automatic COLA for the non-union employees. Many of these employees are working in departments that have been chronically short-staffed and are still going into 2025. Several employees, due to their years of experience, have been asked to take on additional responsibilities without additional compensation. As a reflection of their ongoing dedication in serving the citizens of Caribou, I'm asking for a 4% cost of living adjustment to be approved for all regular, non-union, non-contract employees, both full-time and part-time, effective January 1, 2025.
Thank you.
Question, yes?
Yeah, I understand the 4%, but the 3.6% is different than the 4. That's just for the two.
That's, the state sets that.
The state sets that.
So the state set that minimum wage is going up 3.6%.
So then, gotcha.
Are there any other wage increases except for the COLA? Market increases or any such
I
thing
think
that are
that would be
programmed?
something to talk about during the budget time. I mean, I wouldn't want to hold up a COLA for everyone because we do have some positions that are under market, and our finance director has been working on those as well. But I think market adjustments is better talked about during the budget time.
Fair enough.
You
I
know,
just wanted to
but
make sure that this was distinct to a COLA,
This
a
was
true COLA.
distinct to a COLA.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Which employees does this cover exactly?
So this would cover the people that would work here at the city office, well, all department heads. So everyone who is like a regular part-time employee, also library, the rec department, general government, except me. I'm a contract employee, and I can't have any kind of increase until I've had a review, which we haven't been able to have. So, it doesn't cover anyone who's in a union because they have their own collective bargaining agreement. For some reason, Caribou has never had like an automatic mechanism. A lot of places do. They either tie it to the rate of inflation or the rate of inflation over a period of years or something. We have never had that. So what has happened is that during the budget time when we're doing this, it's taking effect in almost April. We're a quarter of a way through, whereas everyone else is getting a COLA on January 1.
We saw that last year.
Yeah, we saw that last
Yeah, we did.
year, and our COLAs have been usually 2%, which is not anywhere near what inflation has been or a true cost of living. Does that answer your question? Like,
Totally.
we have
No,
some
that completely answers it, actually.
that are not
question.
regular part-time employees that don't work the same number of hours, but if they're the same number of hours every week, like at the library or the Nylander, those would be considered regular, whether they're full-time or part-time.
No,
And then,
that's
like I
perfect.
said, it doesn't cover me because I'm a contractor.
Perfect. That's great. That answers my question
I'll make
completely.
a motion to approve the 4% cost of living adjustment. Our regular, non-union, non-contract employees, both full-time and part-time, to be effective January 1st, 2025.
I second. Oh,
Third.
At the same
You
time.
can have it.
Motion and a second, further discussion? I'd like to say this makes up for you voting no about shutting the city office down on December 24th.
We're gonna give you a
Very nice
candy cane or
showing.
something.
And a candy cane,
Yeah.
sure.
Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
I guess I have to go aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And thank you, Penny, for advocating for your staff. I thought that was
Really cool.
really good.
Our staff has worked really hard this
I know they
year
have.
under a lot of adverse conditions. We've had a lot of things going on in addition to their regular work. We have a lot of departments that have been very short-staffed this year too. And every day they've been in here turning it on. And even when we had the power outage, we had employees working to try to make sure the city was still running. I mean, we have people that this is their home and they want to do good work for their neighbors, and we appreciate them every day.
They care.
They care a lot,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, like you said, it's people that are stepping up and doing things that may not even be part of
Right.
their day-to-day tasks.
That's
So,
right.
no, absolutely.
And I thank you very much for
Thank you.
recognizing that, because the staff really does give their 100% every day.
Okay, item number 10D is the approval of an extension for the 2022 county ARPA grant, and that's on page 91 of your packet.
Motion, motion to approve and sign the 2022 ARPA grant award contract agreement extension with a new expiration date of December 31st, 2026.
Second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I didn't print one, did you? Did you print one? Okay, okay.
I'm flipping here, there we go.
Oh, it's this?
There it is, okay. Item number 10E is a discussion of the Maine Department of Transportation PPI for controlled access areas, and this is on page 96 of your packet. Yeah,
Yeah, this is in regards to the meeting that we had at the rec center and that we were gonna move forward with this.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
so
what I
it's
was-
different than the BPI. I was so afraid everyone would be
No,
confused,
no,
but you
I
were
remember.
right on it.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was at that meeting, and this is how we decided at the meeting to move forward for the next step.
Yeah.
Troy was
Counselor
there.
Bagley was there, Superintendent Marquis was there.
Yeah, we were all there, okay. So this is our next step on in that
And
process.
for those who were there, it started out as a hard no.
Sure
Absolutely.
did.
And by the time they left, they said, well, okay.
Is it a
Dan softened
maybe
them up a
now?
little bit.
Is it a maybe?
Yeah,
He
they
softened them up a
said,
little.
they like, well, let's check into it and we'll get back to you. So
Aw.
they did. They reached out to me, Superintendent Marquis and I met with them via Zoom. The Development Committee and CEGC are meeting on Wednesday morning. And so I'll be, telling them this good news too if they didn't happen to see it here tonight.
Perfect.
This could be one of those transformational things.
That's cool.
If we can
Absolutely.
pull this off,
Yeah.
even, one or two, breaks to have access to all of that area back there.
absolutely.
I hope in the packet it's easily understood, like kind of what we're talking about
Oh, yeah.
here.
I think so.
I did put
Yep.
some links in there if it's not. And there was a really good discussion that day, and I think they could really see where we were coming from, that so many other communities have full access to their Route 1, their sections of Route 1, and Caribou doesn't. And as this council has made economic development a huge priority. I don't know in the almost 15 years that I've been here that we've had a council that has really brought forward to staff that this is a major priority and to think outside the box. You've started a new committee and you've also held staff accountable for trying to think of designated growth areas that fits in very well with our comprehensive planning that is going on now too.
It was funny because I think when they were talking about the controlled access highway, they were mentioning Brunswick. Well, you got a river on one side and it's all,
Yeah.
it's controlled access, but there's no access to
Right,
anything
right,
else.
right,
So they were
right.
comparing that to,
Yeah.
it's like, well, everybody's driven through there. It's just nothing. It's just fence. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 3.
No,
Nope.
this
Nope,
doesn't.
this
is
doesn't
not a
have- this
resolution,
isn't
it's
about
just,
that. This is just to
Back
make a
one.
motion
96.
to
Flip
move
one.
forward.
Right
you
here.
know, With.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll move forward with the Maine Department. I'll make a motion to move forward with the Maine Department of Transportation towards developing a scope of work for the Planning Partnership Initiative.
Second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Bagley?
Aye?
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Item number 10F is a consideration of resolution number 3 of the 2024 series. A resolution establishing city policy for providing public safety support to community events. And this is presented by Councilor Bagley on page 98.
So just picking up on the discussion about the importance of economic development, I want to make sure that it is the city's policy that we are going to support large and small events with fire and police support if they need it, okay, if they request it and need it. We've not established any such policy. We haven't really even voted on it, and I want to make it clear what our policy is. And I think that does two things. It gives us continuity so that when things are happening, we're operating by the same rules, but it also signals to the entire world that this city supports economic development in events going forward. So that was the purpose of the resolution. I can read through it if you'd like. The basic point is, you know, we want to have fire and police at our large and small events. We want to develop a fee schedule so that it's consistent and fair across the board. Everybody gets the same. But we also want to give ourselves, the council, the ability to waive those fees if we deem necessary. So it's intended to be very flexible. So I'll take any questions if there are any.
So that was my question, was that the fee schedule is intended to be passed along to the event holder unless we so choose to waive that. You're saying
Yeah.
we have the opportunity.
We'll set
or
it at the beginning of the year. That's my thought anyway. Set it at the beginning of the year so everybody knows what the costs are going to be going into it. And we don't have to negotiate that for every event.
So does
Yeah.
this pertain to city events as well? I mean, we have a lot of city events. Do these fees,
I think that happens organically. City
I-
events, they're supported
they're automatically? I mean, I
organically.
just wanted to make sure like how that looks,
Yeah.
obviously, because we have a lot of events that we host as well. So, I mean,
Luckily,
I
a lot
mean,
of
I don't know
them
how
that
that
we-
works. I mean,
yeah.
automatically if you're,
Yeah, luckily, the events that the city put on doesn't have the level of talent that some of our other event hosters have. And so when you have a level of talent that comes, they have writers that would dictate that they needed a certain level of police or EMS
Yeah, for
or
sure.
fire protection that would need to be there.
absolutely, 100%
We don't
agree.
have things like that. I mean, maybe our hot chocolate's too hot. I'm not sure, but
Maybe your
we
karaoke's
probably-
on fire. I don't know.
The karaoke could be blazing hot.
Depends
I'm
on
not
who's singing.
sure. Yes.
I guess my only comment would have been about the fees, and I'm glad that that's in here, because
Yeah.
I think that's an important component here, and I think it's something, like you said, we should establish at the beginning of the year and probably revisit each year
Yeah.
if need be, but, yeah.
Totally.
Further discussion?
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution number 3.
I second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Lovewell?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Oops. Okay. Item number 10G is a consideration of resolution number 4 of the 2024 series. This is a resolution establishing the total budget and required contingency reserves to design and build a new police station. And this is also being presented by Councillor Bagley.
So you even heard the discussion even tonight, a little bit of question back and forth about the 10 million and the 2.5 CDS and how does that play together and all that. And I thought it was important that we establish an agreement on that through a vote that the 2.5 million CDS, received in CDS, will go to defray the costs of the overall project. In other words, it will go to decrease the amount that we need to borrow. So we should not need to borrow more than 7.5 million. The referendum says we can borrow up to 10. That's fine. That's what the voters approved. But we are now putting constraints on that to say we're going to apply the CDS money to that 10 million, and we're not going to borrow more than 7.5. And I think it's important that we all agree and understand on that. And I think more importantly, the public understands what we're doing. And we're not going to end up at 12.5 million. That's the reason for that. The other thing that this resolution does is, as I mentioned earlier on the cost estimating from our architect, it's been a little bit inconsistent and kind of hard to follow. They've used different contingency reserve for each of their cost estimates, and that, you know, pretty consistent at 10%, but 10% during a schematic design is not high enough. Industry standard is 15%. Design development is 10%, and then construction drawings is like 5%. So as you get more detailed in your design, you get more sure of your costs, and that's why it's designed that way. So the other part of this resolution is to put that in writing, and for us all to agree on that, and to direct the architect to use those numbers and keep our reserve, because that's our contingency. We need that contingency, and if they're not putting it in the cost estimates, we're not getting that. So, any questions for me?
I don't have any questions. Anybody?
I don't have any questions, but I do have something that I'd like to say about this, is because we do have authority from the citizens to spend up to $10 million.
To borrow.
To
Borrow.
borrow. I'm
Borrow,
sorry, not
yes.
spend,
Correct.
borrow.
Borrow.
Yeah, borrow, sorry. And it does not, and that would be taxpayer dollars. The 2.5 million from the government is not, in a way, of course it's taxpayers dollars, but not the city of Caribou directly. This would not have anything to do with the mill rate or whatever it's going to affect as far as the $10 million one is. And I don't think that we should make a resolution saying that we're going to apply that 2.5 million to the 10 million and decrease it to 7.5 million. I think we need to keep it as it is, because we never know what's going to happen. And I don't think that was the intention, and I prefer that we leave it as is. So I would be a no, but.
I'd like to
I
also
agree with
add.
that, too. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're
Go ahead. I was just going
Well,
to say, I agree with what Joan said, and the way that the referendum was worded was that the citizens approved up to $10 million loan and
To borrow, not to
to
spend.
to borrow,
Right.
yes.
Yes.
Correct.
So the 2.5 million has really no bearing on that. That is additional funding for the project, but it has no bearing on the loan amount.
That's true, and that's why I proposed a resolution to clarify that.
I think-
Because if we
sorry.
let this go, then we will spend $12.5 million. I guarantee it. I guarantee it will get spent.
Counselor Lovell, you had something
Yeah,
you wanted to say?
I think that it is our intention to try to keep costs down at
Yes.
every level. I think we've been doing that. I'm not on the committee, but I have made every proposal that I can from this seat to try to look for ways to save costs, and they have been heard. They have listened, and they've done those things, and they've saved some substantial amounts of money, I know. And they're looking for every way that they can on the committee and every other way. I know that that's not going to stop now, that they're going to the next design phase. And I think that it would be reckless and foolish, actually, to not have the money as a contingency for if something were to be needed. You know, if we were to fall a couple $100,000 short, and then not to be able to have that money available to us because we've signed some kind of resolution. That just would derail the whole project, and I just don't think that that would be wise. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Counselor Smith?
And I think way back in the beginning, we made our own mistake on the previous council by saying we're gonna borrow up to $10 million. We set the price at that time. It's always gonna be. Maybe we should approach that a little differently at the time, way back in the day, but so that it's always gonna be $10 million or more.
Right. Right.
There's no way to say it's gonna be any less than that.
Do our best to keep the cost as
As-
low as possible and
Absolutely.
do everything that we need to do to make this building functional and support what we need to support and be in it for the long haul.
Yeah, and just to address your concern about the contingency, that's the second part of the resolution. That's where that's addressed, that we reserve off that 15%, then 10%, then 5%, to make sure that what you are concerned about doesn't happen.
Because it looks like to me, based on their information, there's 15% in their contingency.
And I think that she's
was in
talking
their
about a
last
different
one.
contingency
There's
than
5%
you
in
are.
addition to 10% in their estimates, so.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother discussion because they changed the value to make it look like there was a 15%. There really isn't. But
Don't think
that's
so,
another
but
discussion.
anyhow.
5%.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 5%.
So this
In
is
addition
just
to
an
that.
attempt to
It's there.
clarify,
In-
and
oh,
obviously
okay,
if there's
thank you.
not agreement on the council, to do this, that's totally fine. But I think it's important for the council to speak one way or the other. So that's why I brought it
Agreed,
forward.
agreed. No, I just wanted to explain where my thought process was on that, so.
Anything further on this?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 4.
Second.
You're making a motion to adopt resolution number 4?
It's
Oh,
already
I'm sorry.
seconded. No
Oh, I'm
coaching.
sorry.
Come on.
No, sorry.
I heard a second.
No, take it back. No.
I'm just teasing you. Jen.
I was
I'll
looking
second
at
it
the other
then.
one.
Further discussion?
Sometimes it's getting late.
Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly?
No.
Lovewell?
No.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Nope.
No. Motion fails.
Okay. Thank you for your consideration on that. So we know where we stand. Spend $12.5 million.
It might be 12 and a quarter, you never know.
Yeah.
It
Or
probably
maybe,
won't be.
or maybe
Okay.
8. We don't know.
It might be.
Could be 8 million. We don't know.
You know what, the
Anybody
goal is
involved
really to
in
keep it,
projects
the
like
goal
this?
is really to keep it low,
Well, that was
Dan.
the
I'm
initial
teasing
number
you,
was 8.
and you know that I am, but,
Yeah.
I mean, really, the goal is to keep it as low as possible. And maybe to get some great
Absolutely.
grant funds, as well.
That's what I'm hoping,
So-
for sure.
That'd be great.
There's money out
Okay.
there.
Item number 11 is reports and discussion by mayor and council members. Let's see. I'm going to start on this end of the table with Councilor Kelly.
I really have nothing to say besides that I'm extremely happy where the police station's going.
So am I, but also I really want to say kudos to Penny and Gary and the police, the fire department. This town is gorgeous.
Oh, it's
We're
beautiful.
almost there with our Hallmark town, especially when you come down from Burger Boy and you look down through. Oh my goodness.
So cute.
What a nice job
Oh, it's absolutely.
you guys have done. I mean, it is just beautiful, and people are noticing it and saying, "Oh, look." You just want to go stand there and look around, and if it weren't so cool.
I didn't do any of that.
Well, you had
the fire station
you had
and Gary.
You didn't do it physically, maybe, but you
No, I
had
didn't
the
even have the
ideas.
ideas, so I just want it to be known. It does look nice where the fire department has taken the lights further
Yeah.
down and further
Oh
down.
my
Main
gosh,
Street,
further,
too.
And
yeah.
up South Main
South
looks
Main,
beautiful
Yes.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it looks
It's
wonderful.
beautiful.
And I mean, so many. I've been going through town in the evening, and so many businesses too. With just everything's decorated so nicely, and I think the whole community has really invested in this.
it's
To make
contagious.
things. It is
know.
contagious, and it does look beautiful.
Yeah. So thank
Brian
you.
and Gary, you can thank them.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone. So,
Merry Christmas.
Look forward to another year serving on the council. So, I'll leave it at that.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah, everybody get their gift.
Yes, thank you
Yes,
for
thank
that.
you, Jody.
Beautiful.
Well,
so
you
much.
can, you can thank my mother for that. No.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you, Mama.
That's from
That was nice of
Bah,
you. No.
Getting a little
I know, you gotta work on your Grinch over here. We'll get him.
We take back the Grinch comment.
Yeah, well,
Well, I just gave him a second Grinch comment, I don't know.
Oh, never mind.
yeah. Little dogs out front there.
That's been.
Poodle.
Well, I just want to say thanks to our fellow council members. I know we don't always have the same ideas when it comes to our votes and things, but I think we all have the same goal. And so our end goal is the same, and we really want to see this town be prosperous and our citizens happy and healthy. And so and we all really respect each other. So I'm thankful for that. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and I love our little Christmas downtown that's going really well. So keep coming. We have one more. Yep.
One more.
One more.
next one.
Saturday.
Yes.
One more
keep
Saturday.
coming. Keep coming.
Saturday before Christmas.
So cold.
Yeah, the little
was
Christmas
cold
market,
Saturday.
our Christmas market, super fun. So,
I'll bring
and
my
Merry
Grinch-
Christmas,
I'll bring my
everybody.
Grinch hat. How's that?
You can bring your Grinch hat, and you know what? You can come sit on Santa's lap and get a picture for free, and I'll give you coffee. I'll give you hot chocolate.
great.
Maybe we'll get the dunking booth out.
Yeah, we can, a little cold.
Ooh,
but-
that'd be ice cold.
My turn?
Counselor
Your
Bagley?
turn.
Well, you said a lot of the stuff I was going to say, but thank you for doing that. I would also like to add, I would like to thank our mayor and deputy mayor for your year of service. I know it's not hard. You have seven people in a group trying to maintain order and all of that and organize the meetings, and I appreciate very much the effort that you guys have put in this past year. And Penny, I have to say again, thank you for all that you do. You have so much on your plate, and you tackle everything with energy and cheer and grace, and we're just so lucky to have you. And so thank you for all of your work over this last year.
Oh, I couldn't do it without the staff, honestly.
Yeah, exactly, and pass that along to the staff too. I just have one thing on the development committee. We met last month. Stay tuned for developments on the development committee, because they're talking to the CEGC and they're talking about a potential partnership, trying to merge their roles. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. They haven't even met. They're going to meet. We're going to meet when?
Wednesday.
With them.
Yep.
Okay, so stay tuned for that. I just wanted to put that out there because you'll be hearing more. Thank you.
One quick, are we set on the municipal building?
Yes, Wednesday,
It's Wednesday, okay.
3:30.
Yeah, send me a reminder.
Yeah.
I saw the email, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
it had been finalized.
Wednesday,
Okay.
3:30.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry. That's all I
So
have.
everyone's taken all the good stuff, but one thing I would like to say, I mean, in addition to thanking our city employees and our city manager and the council, who all, I think, work really hard and contribute a lot to what we try to do in the community, I'd like to thank the citizens, too. I mean, we have so many people who come here meeting after meeting and sit in the audience and give their input during public forum, and we really appreciate that as well. So thanks to all of you for being here tonight, and for those of you who've come to other meetings as well who might not be here this evening, and happy holidays to everybody. All right, and with that, our next regular meeting will be on January 2nd, and that will be our city council organizational meeting, and we will be welcoming our new counselor that evening to sit up here with us, so Counselor Watson. All right.
I have to come to that one too?
You do.
I do.
Yeah, you'll need to be here. Okay. With that, what are the wishes of the council?
You want to go home?
Anybody?
What's that?
Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah,
We adjourn.
second, whatever.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, discussion?
Somebody.
I motioned it, you seconded it.
Oh, is there?
Oh, I
already did.
think, I don't think we were going to.
We're not going.
Oh, dude,
I think we were going to meet after to
We-
discuss the first.
oh,
executive.
okay, that's not what I took away, but if that's what we want to do, that's fine with me.
I
Okay.
don't see why we have to, but whatever.
I don't see
No,
why.
I don't see why we
Based
have
on
to
the
either.
directive,
I don't-
yeah.
That's how
See,
I
I mean,
interpret
if
it.
that's what the
Okay.
council
Yeah.
wants, but we've already discussed, I think.
So we
pretty well
won't
that-
even move to go into the executive session?
Yeah, I don't think
That
we need
just
to.
went up to the top, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion and a second, and Danielle, you know who did those things? All right, perfect.
Somebody did it.
Discussion.
To adjourn, right?
To adjourn.
Got it.
Bagley,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Lovewell,
Aye.
Smith,
Oh, sure. Aye.
Terrio.
So we're gonna
All
say
right,
no
I guess
again?
I'll just follow suit
I
then.
did it.
I will
Meeting
stay
adjourned.
here.
Thank you again, everyone.
2024.
Just to say I did it. That's right. Why not?
In the
Turn
books.
off our microphone.
What do you do if everybody?
Can you enter that into the record, please? Merry Christmas. Thanks for all your hard work this year.
Is it a positive thing?
I have information, so I don't want it to go. Okay, well, Penny wants to talk to me. I want to wait one second. Okay. No, I saw it here on. They just sit.
Yeah, because like, you know, I gotta do a lunch. I gotta do a lunch. I can't do it every time. No. She said, no, on the adjourn, I know.
We're still trying to change that. And then we're paying for that process. So for us, it's a win.